Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruples. May the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. Today I'd like to talk a bit about the house, 1122 Kings Road, and all the 5 roommates. Maddie and Kaylee were not only best friends, they both had their rooms upstairs on the 3rd floor. It was said that they were both found on the same bed. They were sleeping in the same bed. I doubt, because in the affidavit, DM clearly states that she heard Kaylee upstairs playing with her dog, Murphy. And then she heard somebody that sounded like Kaylee saying, "I think there's somebody here." So Kaylee was with her dog, Murphy. I think she heard something. She came out to check on Maddie, and that's when this brutal attack happened to her. And then obviously we have Xana and her boyfriend, E. Xana lived in the house with the other 3 roommates, 2 surviving roommates, and 2 deceased. That's Kaylee and Maddie. So for these 4 victims to have been unalived, it's either that they all 4 were targets, or maybe it was 1 or 2 were targets, and the other were collateral damage. That is possible, but I don't think so. I think that at least 3 of them were targets, like the 4chan explained. That's my personal opinion. There was Maddie, Xana, and E. But then when you look at it the other way, Kaylee was one of the main targets. And I'll tell you why. The police said and debunked that Kaylee had a stalker. But I really believe that Kaylee had a stalker, because the vape store manager told Brian Enton on News Nation that Kaylee was suffering, or basically Kaylee had a stalker, and that Maddie and the girls used to always surround her so that she wouldn't be alone and feel unsafe. He even gave an example to Brian Enton about the stalker stalking Kaylee daytime near the corner club. The second reason I believe this could be about Kaylee and about the stalker issue is because, let's not forget, Kaylee wasn't in 1122 Kings Road for a couple of months, or for at least 5-6 weeks. Kaylee just got back on Friday night, the night before the unalivings, for the sorority party, and she was in doubt to even come back. So what happened? Where was the couple that night? He was with these triplets in the Betty ball. Where was Xana between 8 to 9? How come there wasn't one single picture taken of the couple after 9 p.m. that awful night?
confirming that Kaylee had a stalker. So take me to that whole situation with the business in town and what you found out.
Yeah, this was interesting, Ashley, and we didn't expect it. We went to this vape shop in downtown Moscow looking for surveillance video. I mean, we've been going all over the place just trying to get any new information. And the manager actually knew Kaylee and Maddie. They had been there 6 or 7 times. And then he had a lot to say about the potential of this stalker. Listen to what he told me.
So Kaylee and Maddie would both come in very happy, very friendly. You know, they always were just such a smile on their face. Just like pretty much you would say they're the light of the world, pretty much. You know, always happy, go lucky. They always came in just chatting. They always came with a group, like I said. They probably I'd say 4 or 5 girls at most, all the time. They come in together. And I made a joke about it earlier. It was like, you know, hey, you know, coming together and stuff like that. You know, just it's nice to see you girls trying to stay safe. One of them more or less openly says, oh yeah, we've had a friend of ours be stalked before, so this is kind of why we all travel in a group like this. And just
was it Kaylee who said that? Do you remember?
No, it was Maddie who actually said that. So Maddie said it, and it was kind of like more mentioning, like motioning to Kaylee too, like who was right next to her. So you could tell that like they obviously all were trying to keep Kaylee safe, you know, and to be there for her as good friends. And then yeah, to know that a few weeks later, now I won't see them, you know, anymore, anything like that. So it's crazy.
How long before the murder about was
that? 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks beforehand, because I was telling them I hope they had a good Thanksgiving break and everything like that too, because I didn't know if I'd see them again. So, because with a lot of the times with the kids, with the way after the pandemic, some of the kids leave in waves. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to see you this weekend or not. Hey, hope you have a great, you know, Thanksgiving with your family. And that was the last I saw them.
Did they elaborate any more on the stalker comment?
They more or less kept making the comment that it always seemed to happen either by the campus or down on Main Street. And the last time Kaylee more or less made it sound like it seemed like it was down on Main Street, and that the person was coming from like around the Corner Club area, and then like as far as I remember, it's the guy who ended up like trying to go and talk to her, and then he gave up on it, and he ended up walking away. So she thought she was being stalked up to a certain point, and then looked behind her, and he was no longer behind her. So
I just want to make sure that I get it right. So
yeah.
Tell me again exactly what you remember.
Just more or less, I made a joke about them being in a group, and they just said, yeah, you know, one of our friends motioned to Kaylee that she'd been stalked recently, and so that had people constantly following her around. And it's not just a one-off thing, that this is apparently something that Kaylee had tons of issues with. Apparently she always had somebody who's constantly walking behind her like that. So, and it was more so at nighttime when they were out there drinking and stuff like that. Because I asked them, like, is it at school? And she's like, no, when I'm at night, going out to the bars or coming back from the bars. And again, living down that way.
Did she specifically mention the Corner Club?
Not the Corner Club, but just in that general direction and stuff like that. So, the only reason I would assume the Corner Club is because that's the only bar that's down in that area anymore now. So, we used to have 2. One was CJ's and then the Corner Club. It's just Corner Club now. Then a whole block before it mingles. So.
How many times did you see Kaylee and Maddie? How many times did they come to the store?
I'd say, now that I'm trying to think back in my head, I've only saw them maybe like 6, 7 times total. So I say probably since the start of this beginning of this year.
So we know that police have looked into the possibility of there being a stalker. Latest we know from police is that they've never found anything to corroborate there actually being a stalker. They looked into an incident, Ashley, you might remember, from mid-October from a business downtown, and said there was nothing there that they could figure out that it was actually a stalking incident. We're not sure if that's the same incident that Kaylee and Maddie were talking to the vape shop manager about, but certainly interesting to hear him say that.
It seemed like he had spoken with them multiple times and about that topic multiple times as well. What about surveillance video from his shop, that manager? Was he asked for it? Does he have any? Would it be helpful anyway?
Yeah, so he says police came to his shop a couple of days after the murders, and the video had been deleted there. He doesn't have cameras on the outside, but I guess they were still interested in video on the inside since the girls had been there so many times. But like so many other stories that we found, you know, the video deletes after a week or 2.
So hold on. Let's get this right. The police went to the vape store and spoke to the manager who was just speaking about Kaylee and Maddie and the stalker. But he didn't have any footage for them because it's past a week and it automatically deletes. So Idaho, Moscow, police officers and detectives, I'm sure we're working hard, but they know how important it is to get the footage immediately. They didn't even bother to get the gas station footage. The woman in the gas station who works at the gas station was kind enough to contact them. We heard Joe Vito saying that he was the one trying to contact the police without any aid, and then he went to the police station to give them the report, and they told him, yeah, we know you were there. They didn't even bother to go around to get statements. Basically, the footages were deleted, whether on purpose or by mistake or automatically. That's how the data of the footages are built. The police are supposed to do the old police job like Kojak and Columbo and Sherlock Holmes and knock at doors and get footages. People aren't supposed to be calling the police and the FBI and saying, this is what we have and this is what I saw. Yes, as the public, as decent citizens, if you're a witness, you need to call the police and tell them. But in this case, the police ain't bothered. They ain't picking up your calls. They ain't registering if it's important or not. For all you know, they weren't even passing the messages to the FBI. Is that how they must have ended up accusing Brian Christopher Koberger for these crimes? Because obviously, they don't want to take the heat that it was their darling angel frat boys, Davids and Jacks, and possibly BK, who could have all been involved, but they want to pin this on one person. They didn't even bother to go get the footage. The FBI did not join this case until the 17th of November. Picture that. 5 days later. So the FBI has to just rely on the footages and the updates that Idaho Moscow updates them. What was the reason they took 5 days to call the police for a high-profile case for a small town with thousands of people? You would have definitely needed the FBI's skills, resources, data, technicians, everything. But they decided to wait. They didn't put out the vandals alert till 3. So the students didn't even know that danger was walking around until the vandals alert was put out. And there was so much mixed messages in the beginning. It's a targeted attack. No, it's not a targeted attack. The victims are the target. No, one victim was the target, but we can't mention which one. Then they said all of the victims were the target. Then William Thompson said it wasn't the victims. It was the house that was the target, the resident. Not the residents that lived in it. They kept on giving mixed messages. There was a lot of panic, anxiety, madness going on in the university because of all the unclear messages. People were doing interviews over phones, I heard, like Jack Showalter Jr. How was he allowed to drive to Boise 5.5 hours away? What if he was the one carrying the weapon? and all the weapons. The reason I say that is always look at the person who's not around. His alibi doesn't make sense. It doesn't stick. And he comes from a rich, powerful family that has influence. They even know the defense attorney of Boise, Idaho. I mentioned that a year ago. His mother and father are doctors. His two older brothers are doctors. He was only messed up one in the family who got thrown out of the flats, allegedly for harassment. He was throwing dead coyotes in front of sororities' houses. They knew exactly who they were dealing with. I wonder if it's Jack D or Jack Showalter. I don't even think it's Jack D. I wouldn't be surprised if it's organizations or Showalter, the university. Someone or something is being covered up for. And if Brian Christopher Koberger is involved too, he can end up beating this case and walking out. And guess what? The victims will end up not getting justice. That's so unfair. I wanted you to take a look at how the house, 1122 Kings Road, looked at night, even that night, and the nights following the quadruples. Look at how bright it is. Do you think that a random person like Brian Christopher Koberger would dare to come with so many lights on? He must have done his research. He knows there's a dog in it. He knows that there are 5 roommates. He knows that this is a party house. He would have known that Xana has a boyfriend. Why would he take that risk? Make this make sense. And look straight down. Guess what we see? The Sigma Chi fraternity. Just like they said in the 4chan, from David Ellie's window, you can see the 2nd and 3rd floor. When the lights go off, we're going to do it. They said 19 minutes on the whole. We're not going to take phones. They said they didn't want the Wi-Fi connection to catch them. They said they're going to put their phones on YouTube. I know it by heart by now. They said they were going to put it on YouTube so that we have an alibi there. They said we're not going to take guns because that's too loud. And they did it in 90 minutes. We saw 4 to 5 figures running back to the Sigma Chi. It's not a puzzle. Even a child can figure this out. But the question is, why are they just covering up lies with lies with lies? Because it's going to be exposed in their face. Is this the reason why it took 5 days for them to let the FBI come into this case? This happened on the 13th of November. DM and BF took 8 or 9 hours. If you go to according to the previous timeline, they took 8 to 9 hours to call the police. They called Hunter first, and then Hunter and all his friends and everyone came and tampered around the crime scene. Then they called the police. Then the police came, and then, whoops, they found a knife sheet. All of a sudden, they're still not telling anyone in the university that they're 4 unalive students. They wait till 3 p.m. to put it out on the vandal alert. 1 o'clock, but they did not put it out immediately. So there was a maniac on the loose, a danger person. They endangered the students. Why did they demolish this house so quickly? What were they hiding? I'm starting to wonder, and I've always wondered if the prosecutor, William Thompson, is telling the truth. He said in the beginning, it's not the students that were the targets. He said the house was the target. What if it was the house? What was so valuable in the house for the house to be a target? Just a question. I'm asking the questions from what the prosecutor said in the beginning, before they arrested Brian Christopher Koberger, and what Chief Fry said. And what, if we go according to the mayor, then we'll be adding crime of passion. They messed up this case from the beginning. The knife sheet could have come from anywhere. I know that's the argument Ann Taylor is going to come with. She's going to say this was a party house. She's going to say, how can you accuse my client? This was a party house. Kaylee and Jack bought the dog Murphy when the dog was a puppy. So the dog was their bond. They both loved their dog. If it was Jack D, is that the reason the dog is alive? Allegedly. Jack D's up on the roof. I wonder if the guy downstairs is Adam, the one with the black hair and glasses. And I wonder if the one with ginger hair is Jack D's little brother. Where was he that night? Look at the Hyundai Elantra downstairs. Jack D had some serious bruises and a swollen face. And a white car. And he was at the corner club. He knows more than he's saying. I'm not accusing him of doing anything, but I'm just saying he knows more than he's saying. He was involved somehow or the other. And guess what? He was the last one to be ruled out. Even Hoodie Guy was ruled out before him. Imagine that. Even the Sigma Chi fraternity boys like David Lodge and David B were ruled out before Jack D. Wonder why? Secrets told. Secrets untold. At the corner club is definitely what happened that night. Something was said to someone that shouldn't have been said. Maddie, what did you tell Adam? I told Adam everything. What were these people talking about? Was it money? Was it love? Was it cheating? Was it drugs? What could it have been about? Sigma Chi's have the best motive: revenge, hate, jealousy, rage, allegedly steroids. There are three targets actually. Maddie, Xana and E. And I really believe they were involved somehow or the other. When all the girls are imitating each other, DM is imitating Xana. And she says, guys, is it all right if I have a small gathering? Just like 4 people, I promise you, not more. And they start laughing. So I believe Xana, may she rest in peace, used to love having a small gathering. And then you see the red cups on the living room table, the last frozen picture from that night. And I wonder if Xana and E had company, if they had a little gathering. They could have come, used the code from downstairs and run upstairs, barged upstairs the steps, and it could have been too late. They could have rushed them. Is that Jack D or his brother? Please like, share, and subscribe. May the victims rest in peace.